to do is build a Bullseye app. So to begin with, let's create a new Xcode project. This might take a while. And then I'm going to create an iOS app. I'm just going to move across a little bit and go next. And then the product name is going to be Bullseye. So this is going just to be a general app, so we can leave the organization identifier stack. Notice Q's core data and include tests is off, so we hit next. And it's going to ask where we want to save it, so I'm just going to put this on my desktop for now, and then hit create. And again, that might take a minute. Now, when we think about our Bullseye app, it's basically going to be a one-button app. When you tap on the button, then you're happy. Then it's basically going to perform some actions, so like check that everything is okay. Okay, so here's our content view. So the first thing I'm going to do is hide this sidebar and then hide this sidebar because we're basically working at the one file. I'm also going to switch my device, why not, to a 13 Pro Max. It doesn't really matter what device you use, and then hit resume. Now, because we've just created this file, it may take a little while to actually run. I'm also going to make this a little bit bigger. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do is add my label, and it's just indexing. While it's indexing, we're going to change our text. So the first thing I'm going to do is a vertical stack. And then inside that, I'm going to do a horizontal stack. And I'm actually going to need 4 of them, but we'll do 1 for now. So this horizontal stack is going to have a bit of text in it. Let's see. So it's going to say text, put the bullseye as close to the target as you can. And then we're going to have a piece of text that has our target in it. So this text is going to have some target in it. Now at the moment we don't have a target, so let's create one. This is going to be a state variable. The state indicates when the variable value changes, it updates the interface. And that variable, we're going to call this target. And it's going to be an integer, and it's going to be random. And we're going to be between 0 and 100. Actually, let's make it between 1 and 99. And that makes it a little bit harder for someone to pick, because if it's exactly 0 or exactly 100, the user just slides to the end of the slider. But it's portrait mode, and for me, I don't really like that because this Bullseye app has a slider and it's got a lot of horizontal components. I'm actually going to change my content view. So to do that, the first thing I'm going to do is go into this blue file. This is like the project setup file, and I'm going to go to the targets bullseye down the side here. And I want landscape left and right. But I don't want portrait or upside down. That way it kind of forces it into that mode. I'm happy with that, so I can go back to content view, and I can hide this side menu again. Now my automatic preview won't go preview interface orientation. Preview is landscape, which is fantastic. Now, I've actually got a target already in here, so I'm going to put that target into my text field with what we call like an escape modifier. And you can see my random number is 45, and each time I change something in this view, so I put a space here, it re-renders the view, chooses another random number. Now it's 94 with a space after it. And I'm going to delete that space, and it's then going to render another random number between 1 and 99. So that's really cool. Now, the next thing I want to do with my horizontal stack, I'm actually going to put a spacer above it and a spacer below it. And I'll show you why in a minute. At the moment, once you've added both spaces, it won't actually change anything. Now, I'm also going to enable my code folding. So to do that, if you haven't already, you go to Xcode and you go to Preferences. You go up to text editing at the top, and then under display, there is a code folding ribbon that needs to be checked like that. So now I can basically fold up my horizontal stack because I'm finished with that one. And then I'm going to have another horizontal stack. This is going to be for my, helps if I spell correctly. This is going to have my slider in it. So this is going to have text 1, text 100, and you'll see it pop up eventually on the simulator. Actually, I know where it is. It's behind the video here. There. And the reason why is because our preview doesn't have a spacer after this horizontal stack either. So if I put a spacer in, it'll push it up to the middle of the screen. So that looks nicely centered, so I'm very happy with that. Then I want to actually have a slider. Now that slider will have a value and a range. So the range is going to be pretty straightforward. We can do one range of 0 or even 1 to 100, like that. But we need to create a variable to store the value. So I'm going to have a state variable called user selection. And I'm going to give it a value of 50 to begin with. So every time we restart the app, it's going to be 50, which is directly in the middle of 1 to 100. The value that I'm going to use then is going to be the $ user selection. The reason I've got a dollar is because this slider will change the value of this user selection. Now I'm going to hit resume, and then I should see a slider that appears between 1 and 100. I'm just going to move that out of the way and zoom out just a little bit so I can see the whole app. And we have a problem, so we're going to try again. There we go, there's a slider 1 to 100. Now I'm going to add some padding to that, so that way that pushes the 100 away from the edge of the screen, because otherwise it's going to be right up against the bevel, and I don't like that. That's looking pretty good. And you can change the slider color if you want as well. That's up to you. And if you wanted to change the slider color, you just use .accent color. And then we can go, I don't know, green or something. And it will change the color of the slider. So you can do that too if you want to. It doesn't really matter. Okay, so the next element that we're going to need, I'm going to put another spacer here. And in between them, I'm going to fold up my H stack too. So this is my second H stack. So the first one has the target in it. And the second one had the slider in it, and so the third one will hold the button like the when you're happy with your slider value. So this is going to be a horizontal stack, and this one is going to be the confirm button, and I'm going to put a spacer and another spacer. So we love spacers in SwiftUI. And then there's going to be a button that has an action. Now at the moment it doesn't do anything. And it's also going to have some text that says, hit me. And so there's my hit me button. So when I'm happy with my choice, I hit that button and it does nothing. So we're going to fix that later. So that's our button. So the last element we're going to have is another horizontal stack. And this one, this time, is going to be like the score, etc. Score stuff is going to go in there. So it's going to have, actually, you know what? Let's not do score. So we can get rid of this. Okay. Now we're ready to go with our views. So what we're going to do, we are going to have an alert that pops up. So when we have an alert, we need to toggle a value to tell whether or not the alert is even available. So we're going to have this, let's just call it alert is visible, and it's going to be false to begin with. And that's not going to change our view at all. And when we tap on our all, it's set to true. So we're going to show that alert. Okay, so now we're ready to build an alert. So at the av, title is presented actions. We can use this one for now. We're going to change it anyway. So we're going to have an is presented, and we're going to use this alert is visible. Now this is a $, which means that we are going to change this value based on if we hit, yeah, okay, we're happy, then we dismiss it. That'll probably do for now. And I'm going to open a squiggly bracket. So now I have a set of squiggly brackets, and the alert content is going to be inside of that. So I'm going to output an alert. So let's create a rounded value. And we're going to say self.user selection. So whatever the user selected, rounded. So that basically, because we can pick from any value, and it will it'll be a Boolean, which is a double value. So you can choose 37.3, and this function will then round it to 37, or round down, or round up as it needs to as well. And then we're going to create our alert. And we're going to create a title for the alert, and this is going to say, title is going to be text. Let's call this, what do we want to call it? Game over, maybe. And then we're going to have a message in our alert that's going to say text. Yeah, let's do it this way. So we're going to, now just to make things easier, I'm just going to put this on the next line. Maybe you chose, and then we're going to use a value, and we're going to use this rounded value that we've calculated based on what the user selected. Make this a bit wider. And then I also want a full stop at the end and a new line. And then I'm going to add a bit more text. So I'm just going to put that on another line as well, because we're creating a new line in our text view as well. We're also going to then add the target was. And we can go target. So you chose whatever value you chose. The target was whatever value the target was. And then we're going to say your accuracy. Now, to calculate the accuracy, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go let accuracy equal okay, let accuracy equal, and we're going to calculate it based on our rounded value. Let's actually take our target minus rounded value. So whatever the difference is, but I want the absolute value between them, I guess, if that makes sense. So I'm going to go absolute between those two. And then my accuracy is going to be, well, 100 minus that. And the reason why it's 100 is because if I have a target of 50 and I chose 49, so my accuracy is actually 99%. I've only was 1% off. So that's why I take 100, or I take it away from 100. Then I can say that's my accuracy, oops, as a percent. So that's our message, and then we're just going to have a final dismiss button. So here's my message, title, message. So this is all in this text field, so this actually belongs to the text, and then this one belongs to the alert, right? So then I can put a comma here, and I can go message, so let's go dismiss button. And I'm going to create a default dismiss button, but I want a specific label, and the label is going to be text awesome. So now, if we play with this, I'm going to try here. It might work, it might not. So when I hit me, so we've got 18 is what we need. So I'm going to move that to about there, and then hit me. and it says game over, and I can't read that, so I'm going to zoom that in a little bit. And it says you chose 26, the target was 18, your accuracy 92%, and you can hit awesome, and then it goes back and it's still 18 and it's still the same. So when we dismiss, I suppose we need a new round. And so what we're going to do is create a state variable, and we're going to call this round. And it's going to start at 1. And when I dismiss, a couple things are going to change. So I'm going to open a squiggly bracket here, and here's the close of the squiggly bracket. And when we tap on the dismiss button, we're going to go self.round plus equals 1. So that adds 1 to the round. It's the same thing as writing equals self.round plus 1. It's just not as tidy, which is why we use the plus equals. So we add 1 to our round, and we want to then update our target again. So I'm basically going to use this line as well. Copy self.target. And now, if I stop and I play again, I'm just going to move this view over. So my target is 65. Let's make this a bit wider so I can see what I'm doing. It's about there. So I hit me, chose 67, target was 65, accuracy 98%, and I go awesome. It changes my target value, but it doesn't change the slider. So we actually should probably change our self.user selection back to 50 as well. Back over and run again. Hit me, goal chose 50, target was 99, accuracy was 51. So not so good, but I hit awesome. It goes back to 50. So now I choose about 29, chose 34, accuracy 95%. I hit awesome. It goes back and it resets. So it resets everything for me. And we have this basically an unused counter in the background for round. That doesn't really matter for now. If you wanted to take this further, you can then have text with the round, and you could have an overall accuracy that works on like an average, I suppose. That's basically it. Thanks very much for watching.